Okay, so yeah, when I pick up where I left off here, so when I go down to the garden, I know exactly what the spacing is. I know about how much of the 4 foot bed it's going to take up. See, if I ever come down, I know how most people do it. They just grab a bunch of packet seeds, right? They head down to the garden, and they waste probably, heck, at least half an hour just trying to figure out what to plant, where to plant, how to space it out, um, how to get started. They don't put up a string up. They just go to town, which, I mean, if that's the way you want to do it, that's the way you want to do it. But for those who want to be a little bit more organized, um, I think 4 foot beds is the way to go for you. So as these people grab packet seeds and stuff, they have no idea how long a row it's going to take up. Then they have partial rows, okay, where they might have a row of, let's say, red beets, and it goes like halfway, or it might go all the way across and then a quarter of the way, and then it's like, okay, you got 3/4 of a row left, but you don't have anything that is the same spacing of as those red beets. So what are you going to do with that 3/4 of the rows? So then you're going to have, give you a little example here. So let's say that goes all the way to the edge of the garden, and then you got another row here that's partial, okay? And then you don't have any more plants that is the same row spacing as these. Let's say I'm saying these are red beets here, okay? And then, like, okay, if you get something else that's bigger spacing, and then you have a row like that, and then you have this little bit here that's not gonna be even with this row, so you're gonna have like a mess of a garden of where you're not gonna have a straight row, or you're gonna have rows that are caddied like this instead of all the way through. Whereas, I have a section of tomatoes, right? Which is going to be like your plan A, or I have it as plan A. And it's going to be like this, perfect. 2 rows, however long it's going to be. And then I'm going to stop with that, however long, how many tomatoes I'm planting. And then let's say I plant red beets, which is, I think, this one here, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to have that section started after this section. So it's going to look like something like this, okay? You're going to have your 2 rows of tomatoes. Sorry, I can't do this very well while filming. Okay, here's your 2 rows. It gets so far, you fill that all up, and you can make this as long or as short as you want. But in this 4-foot section, it's gonna look good. And then wherever you stop your tomatoes, let's say you got your lettuce here, which I think, let's say 4 rows, okay? And that can be as short or as long as you want. So you got however long your tomatoes are, and then whenever you're done with your 4-foot bed, you stop. You got your lettuce, then you start them rows. And then however long or short that is, you stop. And then you got your peppers. 2 more rows. And then however long that is, you can stop. You can keep track of where you planted tomatoes, where you planted lettuce, where you planted peppers, the year before. Whereas, like, this mess, it's just like, okay, I had this 1 row of tomatoes here somewhere in the middle of the garden, and I don't know how far in, and so I'm going to plant it somewhere else somewhere else in the garden. It is just a complete mess. Can't keep track of anything. You don't know what sections of the garden that you plant, what family of the vegetables. So if you planted like cabbage, something like here, and then you go to plant another, let's say, I think broccoli, Brussels sprouts, something else is all in the similar family of cabbage, and a cauliflower. And it's just like, you want to rotate your crops, reduce pests and diseases and that thing. and you can't do the job very well doing single rows like this. So you'll have a mishposh of different things. Most gardeners, corn, red beets, cabbage, lettuce, maybe onions, potatoes, uh, carrots, and without them 4-foot section beds, it's almost impossible to keep track of what you planted where, because you get this, where you get a long row and then a part of a row, and then you have to compensate for a different plant with different spacing, and it doesn't equate to single long rows unless you make your garden real small where you can get complete rows, but it doesn't always work out. Whereas 4-foot sections, you can make plans, and you can figure out how many plants you need in that section, or how many seeds, and so forth. Less weeding, easier weeding. You can bring implements, wheelbarrows, your walkways. You can easier to show your garden to whoever you want to show it off to. When you go to harvest, you're not stepping on other plants. You're not trampling plants. It's just, you can't beat it. 4-foot beds. There's no better way of doing it.